What's going on, you guys? It's Royce Jacob, and in this video, I'm going to do my best to simply and briefly explain to you the Bitcoin halving. Okay, so if you've seen some of my other videos regarding Bitcoin, you've known that I've talked about this before a few times actually, but I figured I'd make a video about the Bitcoin halving specifically just because I feel like it's extremely important information for anyone who's interested in Bitcoin to have. And in my mind, it is the single most valuable feature of Bitcoin, and it is that feature that makes Bitcoin the most valuable asset on the planet, in my mind. Okay, so first things first, I'll give you guys kind of my elevator pitch, the way I explain to the Bitcoin halving to people kind of quickly and briefly in conversation. Okay, so the Bitcoin halving is pretty much an event that takes place roughly every 4 years, where the amount of Bitcoin that is pumped into the circulating supply is cut in half. Okay, so the way that I like to kind of give a visual to this is, imagine if every 4 years half of the gold mines on Earth shut down, were forced to shut down and could never reopen again. Okay, so the reason that I make kind of the comparison between gold and Bitcoin is because they're both scarce and finite assets. Okay, so they both take work. They both take work to obtain. They both take work and resources and time to obtain. You can't just print them like you can fiat currencies. So they're finite, they're scarce assets, and they do take work to obtain. So that's why I make the association, the gold mine comparison. Okay, so yeah, again, envision that every 4 years, half of the gold mines on Earth shut down and were forced to shut down and could never reopen again. Okay, so that's kind of a good way just to get a picture of what the Bitcoin halving is in your mind. And that is how I describe it to people, again, just in casual conversation. So that is, again, my simple perspective. But I also wanted to go over some of the actual more specific points involved with the halving, because it is very important information to have if you're interested in Bitcoin. Okay, so this is an article from CoinDesk, and I'll just kind of go over this. I have a few articles with a few of the primary touch points that I want to go over, and so we'll just start going over those. All right. The Bitcoin halving will take place sometime in May 2020. What is the halving? How will it affect price? And what does it mean for miners and cryptocurrencies' long-term prospects? Here's everything you need to know. Okay, so again, we're just going to go over a few of the things that I feel like are important to know. Okay, so we'll actually go down here to what is the halving. New Bitcoins enter circulation as block rewards produced by miners who use expensive electronic equipment to earn or mine them. Okay, so remember how I said both gold and Bitcoin take time and resources to obtain? Yeah, so miners are the individuals who validate the Bitcoin blockchain. And for each block that they validate, they are paid in Bitcoin. And the amount that they are paid is what is getting cut in half. Okay, so that's kind of the beauty of the Bitcoin blockchain, is that it incentivizes the people who validate the blockchain to do that because they get paid in Bitcoin. Okay, so when we're referring to this halving, specifically what is being cut in half is the reward to the miners who are validating the blockchain. So it is going from, I believe, 13 as of right now down to 6.5 in May. Okay, and we'll get down to that. So every 210,000 blocks, roughly every 4 years, 4 years, like the Olympics and the World Cup, the total number of Bitcoin that miners can potentially win is halved. Okay, so this is a cool little chart that kind of goes over the amount of Bitcoin that is in circulation. Okay, and then every 4 years, that's what this yellow line is. Every 4 years, that amount is cut in half. Okay, so it's an exponential drop in the amount of Bitcoin that's being pumped into the system. All right, so in total, there will ever be 22 million Bitcoins, or 21 million Bitcoin ever. There is currently 18 million in the circulating supply, as you can see here. So this is the amount of Bitcoin in circulation. So you can see right here, we're in 2020 right now, and we're at 18 million. So there's currently 18 million Bitcoin circulating. There will only ever be 21 million. So, I mean, we're like 85-90% of the way there, okay? 85 to 90% of all the Bitcoin that will ever exist in the eternity of us, and as long as Bitcoin's around, is already in circulation. So, again, and that's because of these very exponential, very extreme cuts in the circulating supply. Again, in that amount that is rewarded to the miners for validating the blockchain. Okay, so again, as you can see here, we're right here at 18 million, and we only have 3 million left to go. So you can see how that arc goes crazy. It went crazy for this first decade that Bitcoin is around. But since the value has been cut in half so significantly, so it went from 50 when Bitcoin was first started. So sorry, let me move my big fat head over here. I didn't think about this well. But okay, so it went from 50, where it started, again in 2009, that's this yellow bar at 50. It dropped to 25 4 years later. 4 years later, it dropped to 13, or 12.5, I should say. And then now it is going to be down at 6. So again, yeah, in 2020, it's going to be down to roughly 6 Bitcoin for every block that is mined, aside from the current 13. So again, it cuts the amount of Bitcoin that is going to enter the system, the ecosystem, in half. Okay, so let's go over here. This is the amount of time currently. I'm recording this as of March 31st. No, sorry, April 1st. Today's April 1st. Happy April Fools, guys. But it is currently expected to be 42 days until the Bitcoin halving. Okay, so this is a very hot topic in the space right now, and it is very expected for Bitcoin to move up in price. Either soon after or after. Actually, here, sorry, let's go back here. This is what I wanted to show you guys. So here is, move my big fat head again. Okay, so here is Bitcoin's price action post halvings. Okay, or I shouldn't say post halvings, but it just shows the halvings here as well as the price action. Okay, so these lines right here are the 2 halvings that have happened already. Okay, so as you can see, after this first halving, after this first halving, it spiked up almost immediately. That was one of the Bitcoin's first bull runs, where it went up. It passed $100 for the first time. Okay, so that was very significant, and then that's when it carried all the way up to 1,000 in that first bull run in 2014. Okay, so this second halving, as you can see, it was doing well in the second halving, but it wasn't anything crazy. It wasn't nearly as drastic as this one in 2013. Okay, so you see over here, and then but the thing about this halving, the second halving, was that that was the halving that we had prior to that huge 2017 rally. Okay, so the rally, I'm sure you remember, if you're involved in the space at all, you remember when Bitcoin hit $20,000 in late 2017. So that was about 2 years-ish, about a year. No, sorry. That was like a year after that second Bitcoin halving that we're seeing on this chart. Okay, so that's a big reason that as far as price action is concerned, I should say. I mean, Bitcoin as an asset, obviously, you want to make money with your Bitcoin, right? The point of Bitcoin as an investment is to provide a return on your investment, and that is why I believe that it is, again, this halving is the most important aspect of Bitcoin as an asset, okay? Because it makes it so damn scarce. All right, the amount, I keep going back to that gold miner thing, but imagine half of the gold mines in the world being shut down every 4 years, and how scarce that would make gold. And again, that's just a good way to think about it. There's only ever going to be 21 million Bitcoin in circulation. There's already 18 million. We're already the far majority of the way there. And so the less Bitcoin that is being pumped into the system, the more valuable people realize it's going to be, and that is going to create a supply shock that will in turn boost the price up. Again, it could not happen. Actually, let's go here. This is kind of the last thing I wanted to show you guys. This is the stock to flow chart. And this just kind of shows, this is a cool chart that shows the previous halvings and kind of supply shocks due to those halvings and how it reacts, or how it affects the price action. Okay, so as you can see, again, this first one is kind of the same chart we're looking at, just a little prettier to look at. So after this first one, the price shot up like crazy. The second one, it took a little more time, but immediately after the second halving, as you can see here, that is when we actually started this kind of bull rally up to 20,000 in 2017. Okay, so as you can see here now, we're back in this kind of flat phase, and we're actually following this stock to flow chart very well. And this chart is the reason that a lot of people you might hear in the space are saying that Bitcoin could reach $100,000 by 2021, or by the end of 2021, I should say. Okay, and that's not crazy, again, because when the supply that is being put into the system is cut in half, that again creates a supply shock. It creates way more demand with little supply, and well, the basic rules of supply and demand, the price is going to go up. If demand for something is high and supply is low, people are going to pay more for that existing supply. Okay, so that is why, in my mind, it's really not crazy. Again, I'm obviously a Bitcoin bull. I believe in the technology and the fundamentals of Bitcoin so much that I am biased in thinking that it will hit 100K within these next few years. I'm not promising anything. Obviously, no one can promise anything. No one knows what's going to happen. It could go to zero. I highly doubt it. It could. You never want to disregard or cross out completely any possibility. But in my mind, with all the research I've done and the years I've spent in this space, I do believe Bitcoin can easily hit 100,000, if not a few 100,000 over the coming years, especially with the current economic environment and so much money being printed, and just the amount of inflation that is going to take place in all sovereign fiat currencies. Okay, so again, that I kind of went on a rant there on branched a little past the halving, but hopefully you guys have a better understanding of what the halving is now. And please feel free to hit me up if you do have any questions. I always love talking to you guys, so drop a comment below if you guys do want to talk about this Bitcoin halving or anything regarding Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies or investing overall. You guys know that that's what I do. So I'm always here for you guys. I'm always here to talk, and I appreciate you guys engaging if you do. So I would also appreciate it if you gave the video a like and subscribe if you want to catch more of this content. And until next time, guys, make waves in these markets. Peace.